Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you guys how to scrape this IPO calendar from NASDAQ. Now in this script, you'll be able to select what month you want to scrape. And if available, it'll include the upcoming IPOs, the priced IPOs, the filings, and also the withdrawn IPOs. So the script will get everything that's available for the selected month. I did previously make a tutorial on how to scrape this page, but it seems that NASDAQ changed up the script, so the old script wasn't working. But I'll go ahead and show you how to get this data in case something changes in the future. So for now, let's go to our script. Alright, so here's some of the packages we're going to require. And in the script, we only have one function. All you need to enter is a year and a month. So here's two examples. The first will get you the March 2022 IPOs, and the second will get you the September 2019 IPOs. Again, it'll return whatever is available for that month and year. Alright, let's open up the function. In order to get the data, we need to provide the URL. And the second step is to insert that URL into this GET request and add some headers. And after we send our GET request, we're going to extract the page contents. So I'll show you the steps on how I got the URL and this GET request headers. It may be that you might need to modify these according to your computer. And it may be that we don't have to send all these headers, but I haven't had the time to check which ones to exclude and test if we are able to get data by excluding some of these. But I'll show you how to get the URL and the headers. So let's go back to the NASDAQ page. Now for the main page, we go to nasdaq.com/market activity/IPOs. And once you're in there, I right click and hit inspect. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. All right, so once you get to this point, you're going to click on network. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page and wait for the scripts to load. But within the scripts that are being loaded, I'm going to search for the one that has the data. So here if we scroll, it'll be this one. And if you hit response, you'll be able to see the object here. So all the data is inside this data object. So here we have the priced, upcoming, filed, and withdrawn. Now if you're on Firefox, you can right click on the link and hit copy request headers. Or if you're using Chrome, you can always go to headers, minimize the response headers. These are all the request headers we will use. So all of these are the ones that I have listed on the script. It may be that you may need to change this on the script, since I believe this user agent might change depending on the operating system you're using. Alright, so in the future, if the script no longer works, we need to go back to this page and check if the URL changed or if any of our headers changed. But at least now you know how to get the URL and the request headers. But for now, it seems to be working okay, as long as NASDAQ doesn't change the scripts again. So let's minimize the page and go to our script. Alright, so after we read in the content, inside this variable is where all of our data is located. So now we need to extract that. So if we continue down our script, these are the lines to extract the priced, upcoming, filed, and withdrawn IPOs. So this block will return data frames for each, so long as there's data for them. So after we assign these variables, we need to test if there's actual data inside. And I do that by testing whether or not we have rows inside of each. So here you should see 4 blocks. For each of these variables, I'm testing if the number of rows is greater than 0. Otherwise, I will just skip that block. And for each of these, since we have 4 separate items, no data will get returned from the function. What I've done is that for each of the instances, we're going to go ahead and do a bit of formatting for the columns. And after we're done with the formatting, it's just going to get assigned into the global environment. So if we open up these blocks, for the price data frame, I'm going to convert the proposed share price column into numeric, as well as the shared offered column by removing the punctuation, which includes the dollar signs and the commas. I'm going to format the price date and return that as character, and also fix the dollar value of shares offered by removing the punctuation except for the period, and return that as numeric. So after we're done fixing the columns, I'm just going to assign this priced data frame into the global environment. Now similarly for the upcoming, we do similar formatting, except that the proposed share price may contain a range, and that's separated by a dash. So I ended up splitting those numbers into 2 separate columns. I added the column names, so we have our min price and our max price. I dropped the proposed share price column so that I can add the formatted one, and then I went ahead and reordered them just to keep the same formatting. I fixed the column for the shares offered by turning that into numeric and removing any punctuation. I also formatted the date and returned that as character, and also converted the dollar value of shares offered by turning that into a numeric column. And finally, just assigning this data frame into our global environment as IPO underscore upcoming. All right, in our next block, we modify the filed IPOs, and all we really fix is the file date, which we return as character, and the dollar value of shares offered. And after those two columns get formatted, we assign that into our global environment as IPO filed. And finally, for the withdrawn IPOs, we format the shares offered column, the file date, and the dollar value of shares offered, along with the date that this IPO was withdrawn. And we're going to return that as character. And after we're done with the formatting, we're going to assign it as IPO_withdrawn. So as you see, nothing gets returned in this function. Everything will get assigned into the global environment if the data is available. So now let's go ahead and test the function. I'm going to go ahead and run this function. We will test March 2022 and see if we have any IPOs. So I do see the IPO filed, price, and withdrawn. So let's take a look at the filed IPOs for March. So this is what the table looks like. Everything seems to be formatted correctly. If we click on IPO priced, so these are all the IPOs that got priced in March. So we have the ticker, the company name, the exchange, the share price, the number of shares offered, the price date, the dollar value of shares offered, and the deal status. Now let's take a look at the withdrawn IPOs. So none of these have tickers since they were withdrawn, but we do see the company name, the number of shares that were offered, the filing date, the dollar value of shares offered, and when they were withdrawn. So as long as you provide a year and month, you should be able to request data for the IPOs. So let's do 2019-09. And if we take a look at the priced IPOs, here we see that on the price date, all of these are September 2019. If there's no IPOs on the year and month you requested, then this function will return an error. But you can double check on the website to make sure that there's actual data for the year and month you request. Well guys, this concludes the video. I'll leave a link down in the description area for the Patreon on where you can find the script. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.